Justin, what's the latest, mate, on the two boys?
Uzi's got a hamstring strain, so he'll be out for probably 3 to 4 weeks, which is a real shame, but have to work hard on getting him up for the World Cup, the Ashes now. Such a pity for him because he's been so integral to how we've been playing. I feel really, like Sean, feel that sad for him that he's going to miss the World Cup semi-final. And Mark's the same, got another strain in his other side actually, so we're working through that at the moment and have to make a decision on him in the next 24 or 48 hours.
Right, if that's the case, I guess have you made a decision on who does come in for Usman then?
Yeah, well, not in the final 11 yet, but Matthew Wade's coming up. He's in great form. He's had a great 12 or so months back home, but he just scored 200s in one-day cricket, so he's in great nick. And Mitch Marsh's going to come on standby for Stoinis to see how he comes up.
How frustrating is it to have these kinds of injuries happen at this stage of the tournament in particular?
Yeah, of course it's frustrating, but it's also the business we're in. It's sport, and all the teams have had injuries, so it's just you never like to have injuries any time, let alone at the business end. But no, that's okay. We'll deal with it. I've said it all along. We'll keep dealing with it. We've dealt with it for the last 12 months in all different circumstances, and as disappointing it is for the boys and the team, we'll deal with it.
What would be the Wade v Hanscom? What are the advantages of each when it comes to picking the 11?
We'll be really clear, and we'll keep sticking to the way we've picked over the time. But the top 4 guys who can score hundreds, Wadey scored hundreds. We know England will play the leggy in the middle overs, maybe Moen, whether he plays or not. So players who can play spin, Pete does that really well. Yep. He's been in good form batting in the middle order for Australia A. He was brutally unlucky to miss out on selection for the World Cup in the first place, so we know he's a great person to have in the team. That's what was so hard to leave him out. So they're all the things that we'll have to weigh up in the next little bit. Obviously with Mitch Marsh potentially coming in as well, giving us some medium pace all round. He's been bowling as well. He's played the 4 Australia A games in pretty good form with bat and ball. So if they have to come in, they'll be ready to step up.
Would it be then a choice of Smith at 3, Hanscom at 4 versus Wade at 3, Smith at 4?
None of your business, Sam.
Do you think is it a big ask to ask a
yes,
guide?
That's right. It would be one of those. There's probably about 5 different ways we could get our batting order, but we'll work through that.
Is it a big ask if you have to ask a guy to come into the World Cup and enter the semi-finals, their first match? It's a pressure cooker situation.
Yeah, of course it's pressure for anyone, but it's going to be pressure for all the 22 guys on the park. That's the truth. Matthew Wade, if he comes in, has played a lot of international cricket, which is a real upside for him, and he's in no doubt career best form. Pete Hanscom was only a few months ago. He helped us beat India 3-2 in India in their conditions, and then 5-0 against Pakistan and UAE. So he's also seen his temperament's excellent for it. Mitch Marsh has also played a lot of one-day international cricket. So we're really lucky, and I think about this a lot. I mean, guys like Pat Howard should be really applauded for their vision for this. Imagine if all the boys were still in England, still in Australia and hadn't played any cricket, then we'd probably be very nervous about it. But the boys are all up and running. Great vision from Cricket Australia, great vision back then from Pat Howard, and now to be able to have that as a luxury for us is a real bonus.
Justin, regardless of who comes in for Marcus Stoinis, if he's unavailable, Alex Carey moving up the order, how strong of a chance?
Yeah, again, it's none of your business, like Sam, but it's actually something where he's batting beautifully, isn't he? We've maintained this, as you guys would have heard us say. We've got so many options, and that's the positive thing. Whether it's changing the batting or whether it's Steve Smith batting 3, he's done a lot of it before. Whether it's Alex Carey coming up, whether it's we've got so many very adaptable teams, so that's a bonus. But Alex Carey's batting brilliantly, isn't he? He's the way he's playing is exciting, not just for now, but for a very long career ahead.
Obviously losing Usman for the World Cup is a big blow, but looking forward to the Ashes, I mean, how big a loss would that be if he had to miss the first part of that? Well,
hopefully he'll be right for the part of that. I think it's probably on the best part of a strain as you can get. So it's nothing to do with his tendon. It's nothing, as I understand, I'm not a doctor, but it's as good a strain as you can get basically. So conservatively it'd be 3 or 4 weeks, and with all the the help and the rehab he'll get, hopefully he'll be right for that practice game or certainly the first test.
And just on Marcus Stoinis, like what's he kind of been going through these last few games in terms of doing a left side and now doing his right side? Like is he playing hurt a bit?
Yeah, it's really strange, isn't it, that he's someone as fit and as athletic as him is having these strains on. But we'll keep investigating that, whether it's just unlucky, maybe he's, I don't know whether the left side is, I don't know why it's happening, but yeah, he's a tough character and he's done well to get through to this far.
How important is it to take down Besto and Roy, Justin?
Very, very important. Well, again, obviously they're very important, and that's where we went wrong yesterday. Actually, we had a pretty average game. We had 2 amazing cameo performances in Davey and Alex Carey. We had not enough of us turned up yesterday, and we didn't stick to that game. They were none for 70 after the first 10. We pride ourselves on trying to take wickets early. We pride ourselves on keeping wickets available in the first 10. So to get back to your question, the Besto and Roy, I mean, they're a huge part of England's success, and we'll be doing everything we can to nullify that.
Besto seems to play his best cricket when he's fired up or having a crack at someone. Alistair Cook's sort of spoken a bit about that. Is there a way of trying to keep him quiet in a sense?
Yeah, bowl well to him.
Yeah.
That's the truth. I mean, we won't get into that sort of rubbish. We've played him twice so far. We played him in a practice game. We played him in the first game here. We've beaten them twice. We've got the players and the characters and the camaraderie and the feeling in the group to do it again, and we're really excited about it. I mean, a World Cup semi-final in England against England at Edgbaston, it's going to be great. We are going to be that excited for it. It's going to be huge. I think it'll be a really flat wicket, which will change probably game plans a little bit, unlike what we saw at Lord and a little bit at Hampshire. But it's going to be really exciting. We're pumped.
That should be a bit centred, that wicket, shouldn't it?
I think so.
It
yeah.
is.
So that
yeah.
boundary won't be so tight.
It is.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. Hopefully playing in the middle on a new wicket. I'm assuming it's a new wicket. So, but it's usually pretty flat, pretty fast at Edgbaston. So, yeah, we'll have to be at our best.
You say that like you've beaten them twice, but if you look back at the last victory in particular, how much of a different side do you think they look when they've got Roy and Besto fit and opening?
Oh, of course. I mean, it's like us bringing back Steve Smith and David Warner and Mitchell Starc. I mean, whenever you take your best players out, it changes the confidence within the group, and we really respect that. We know that. That's why I've said all along, I think England are the team to beat in the World Cup, because they've done brilliantly for the last few years. They deserve to be the best team in the world, and yeah, I mean, but you've still got to beat them. Doesn't matter who you play. I mean, there's a lot of talk. We lost 5-0 last year to England, but I'd say that was a pretty different team as well. And there's a lot of talk that we beat Pakistan very undermanned. Well, we had a few outs as well. So that's international cricket. I've said it's match play. Whoever they play, we've got to play better. We've got to have our spirit's got to be strong. We've got our skills have got to be strong. Whoever they put on the park, it's just who plays better on the day.
But you say the wicket, like you expect it to be flat. We've seen a lot of wickets recently deteriorate quite substantially, sort of partway through. How much does that play in your mind going to Edgbaston?
I think we've seen it once, really, for the whole tournament. That's maybe once or twice. I thought the England versus New Zealand game deteriorated. It seemed to get harder. And I said in the press conference the other day, I think more the batting first has to do with the pressure of World Cup cricket than the wickets. Because, again, like leg spinners having a big impact on one-day international the last 4 years, a lot of teams have chased and won in the last few years. It's become a bit of a trend, actually, but not here. And I think that's more with the pressure than the wickets. And, again, when it comes to the day, whether you bat first or bowl first, you just got to be at your best. So I guess one thing I say about yesterday is that we're chasing 320, it fell 10 runs short and didn't play particularly well, so that's a real positive for us.
Justin, you just say that you thought England had almost an advantage having those 2 pressurised games before the semi-finals, India and New Zealand. How wary are you of them now, considering they've got through that?
Well, yeah, but keep in mind we've just had a really tough game against South Africa, who haven't had a great tournament, but are a very good team. We played England and New Zealand at Lord's, so it doesn't get much bigger than that. So both teams will be battle hardened. They'll be ready. We've both had really good lead-ups. We ended up second, they ended up third on the table. That's why we're playing each other. Both really good teams, and I'm sure everyone's going to be nervous going into it, but also excited because, like I say, England versus Australia, World Cup in England, how good's that?
Justin, you're known throughout your career, mate, that steely determination, steely grit. How much fighting spirit do you ask this team to call upon, given what's happened in the last few days and going into Thursday?
Oh yeah, well, most definitely, but I think we've built that up over the last 12 or 14 months. We said at the last press conference when the South African journalist asked us about the importance of this game. I mean, I reckon the last 12 months has allowed us to build up a bit of resilience and a bit of fight and a bit of character. So hopefully that, whether it's for this game or certainly moving forward, then it's going to be important for us.
What was the discussion?
Under the weight of expectation. Justin, look, you got guys like Vaughan saying, "Got to do it for the country, do it to get it on free-to-air TV, do it for everything else, bar just sort of playing a game of cricket." Can that really?
Yeah, I think when it gets to the game, they won't be worrying about free-to-air TV or what Michael Vaughan or anyone else says. I think they'll be thinking about beating us in the semi-final. So, yeah, there'll be lots of talk and lots of noise around about the reasons. They'll be determined. They've been very good for the last few years. I think that they're playing great cricket. They'll come in confident after the last two games. They'll have enough pressure. We'll have enough pressure, and that's what World Cup semi-finals are all about.
They'll have more than you guys, won't they?
No, I don't think so.
Haven't been there since '92. They've never won a World Cup. It's home here.
Yeah, nor have some of our guys. A lot of I've never been to a World Cup either, and a lot of the players.
Squad.
Yeah, that means there's 9 who haven't. So there'll be the same pressure, mate. We can build that up as much as they want, and England can, or the media can build it up on England. But I'm not worried about the pressure on England. We've got enough of our own to deal with. We've got some problems to solve over the next 3 or 4 days. We'll do that, and then we'll put our best foot forward for the semi-final.
What were the discussions with Adam Zampa? I think just before the game and during the game, you're having a bowl with him.
Nothing significant. I don't think. We're just he's one of the boys in the squad that we keep talking to. And
Was it pretty straightforward to pick Wade and Marshall? Were any other names considered, or was that a pretty simple one?
I think the way Matthew Wade's playing, he just smacked a couple of hundreds in one-day cricket, and Mitch Marsh is our only other medium pace bowling all-rounder. So, and that's a like-for-like replacement to a number 3 or 4 who can score hundreds in the top 4. So they were the two obvious ones.